What is up, everybody? We have a really good G1 going on so far with some huge upsets already, and we are only 4 nights in. At least we're going to be covering nights 3 and 4 on this show. So let's get to it. Thanks everybody for tuning in to That's Wrestling. If you are listening to this as a podcast, head over to the YouTube channel because we do this show live over there. And if you click the bell notification, it will let you know as soon as I schedule a live stream. And that's pretty important for New Japan stuff because it's all over the map. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do this as a podcast as well. You can find it on all your favorite podcast apps. If you can't, send me an email, eric@thatswrestling.com. And if you have any comments, questions, feedback, all that fun stuff, mailbag, send that to eric@thatswrestling.com as well. There's a Discord for you in the description show notes. And head over to iTunes and give us a review. It really helps out. And with me back again is Trae Wisecarver. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How's it going? It's a good tournament. It's meat and potatoes, but it's, a very nicely seasoned steak and a pretty good baked potatoes.
Yeah, I am really digging the format, and I hope so much that they keep this format going in the future. Having the one undercard match and then going straight into the block matches and getting a nice, tight 2-hour show, especially when you got 20 of them in 30 days. So it's, and did you hear that they're doing Best of the Super Juniors in November?
No.
Yes.
That is news to me.
They're going to run Best of the Super Juniors and World Tag League by the end of the year.
Oh, wow.
So there's going to be a lot coming up to fill up the end of the year as well. So let's get into this. We're going to start with Night 3, September 23rd, 2020. This took place in Sapporo, and the show started off with the Young Lions once again, Gabriel Kidd versus Yuya Uemura. And I thought this was a good back and forth. They had a decent slugfest near the end of the match, and then Gabriel Kidd picks up the win with a butterfly suplex.
Yeah, C block is a 3-way tie. Yeah, Kidd uses that double arm suplex quite a bit. Kevin Kelly was, making a point to Jack Briscoe was a big point of comparison. Yeah, man, these guys are really good. This is a great opening match. It's one of those New Japan Young Lions matches,
Yep. All right, so let's get into the first block match. For Block A, we have Shingo Takagi taking on Jeff Cobb. Early on in the match here, Jeff Cobb's size comes into play when Shingo can't even give him an Irish whip into the corner, and he ends up eating one instead. Cobb hits the whip, and then coming out of the corner, he puts on a bear hug and then throws that into a belly-to-belly overhead suplex. And then Cobb kicks out of a pinning attempt from Shingo Takagi at one point and just throws him off with authority. Just the power that he has. They have a good exchange of suplexes and then strikes. Shingo hits the Noshigami, and then a pumping bomber for a 2 count. Jeff Cobb hits 2 gut wrench suplexes in a row, and then he picks him up and it looks like he was going to drop him, like he couldn't get his feet under him, and he hit a power bomb. I'm guessing the power bomb was on purpose, but it came off a little sloppy because he was a little stumbling trying to keep Shingo Takagi up. Hits a standing moonsault for a 2 count, and then Shingo comes back with a bunch of strikes, hits a Made in Japan for a 2 count, and then Cobb escapes a Last of the Dragon attempt. Shingo hits a bunch of strikes, but then Cobb just catches Shingo coming in, hits Tour of the Islands, and gets the win. Shingo Takagi down 2 in a row to start off the G1.
Yeah, I was surprised by this result as well. Since I think Cobb beat Shingo in the G1 last year, I expected this to go the other way. But this match was awesome and meaty and violent. Shingo Takagi rules. Jeff Cobb, I was trying to figure out, who is he putting me in mind of? With he's got the size, he's got the amateur base, he's got the agility, and I thought about it, and the what I've come up with so far. You can tell me what you think about this. A young Scott Steiner.
Yeah, I'd put him in a young Scott Steiner, but he's built more like Rhino.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a more agile Rhino.
Which, hey man, I love me some rhinos.
Yeah,
an agile. Yeah, Jeff Cobb is just another one of those guys that I get bigger and bigger on every time. He's having a really fun tournament so far, and can't wait to see more. And Shingo, man, he's off to a rough start, but the G1 is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So we don't know.
I thought this was really fun. It was relatively short, and all in all, really good match back and forth, and lots of big power moves from both of them. Even though Jeff Cobb clearly had the power advantage overall. Kevin Kelly mentioned his Olympic background plenty of times during this match as well, and it just shows just how big and powerful this guy is, and doesn't crack under the pressure. So good to see him in the G1 once again, and we'll see how it goes. He's sitting there with 2 points now after this win. Next up, we had Yujiro Takahashi versus Kazuchika Okada, and this is their fourth singles meeting, and Okada is undefeated against Yujiro at this point. Okada has some tape on his back, on his lower back, and that becomes a target to Yujiro throughout this match. They fight on the outside early, where Yujiro gives Okada a neck breaker on the floor and then hits a running drop kick to a sitting Okada. And this wasn't even on the padded part of the floor; it was actually on the runway area. So just the little carpet was there for cushioning on that neck breaker. And then back in the ring, Yujiro targets the back here and there throughout the rest of the match. They go back and forth a bit. Okada puts on the money clip, and Yujiro gets out of it by biting his hand, and then hits Okada with an Olympic slam. So I thought that was a fun little... You usually don't see that move used too much outside of Apollo Crews and Kurt Angle these days. And
yeah, I think that's a deep cut for Yujiro going way back in the day. Except I think if it's the same move, and it may be a little different, but his move, he wasn't an Olympic wrestler. He was an intercollegiate wrestler, so it was called the intercollegiate slam. But yeah, man, you don't think about it because of the character now, but when Yujiro started, it was as an amateur prospect. So yeah, he's got the strong amateur background as well. Throughout
this entire match, there was a segment where Rocky and Kevin Kelly were talking about how Yujiro was really a heavy hitter in the juniors division, but he just has not found that success in the heavyweight division, and pointing out that he was he was on the bigger side of the juniors, and now is the lower to average of the heavyweights. So that kind of played in, and then Okada hits a discus lariat and then puts on the money clip. Yujiro has to tap out. So Okada is now 4-0 against Yujiro in recent history.
Yeah, I mean, so this is kind of, this is the program of the summer, and Yujiro said, I know I can't rise to Okada's level, but I can drag him down to my level, and certainly something that I can relate to. But Yujiro made another attempt to drag Okada down to his level, but Okada's such a little level above that he came back, he got the submission with the money clip, and he's on the board.
Yeah, he'd have to pull him down multiple levels to to get to the same level. But yeah, I thought this was it was a fine match, nothing spectacular. It was as far as matches goes, it was on the shorter side, somewhere around 10-12 minutes, I think. But I mean, the outcome was pretty much not in question on how this was going to go. So
it was 12 minutes and 1 second.
yeah, so it was fine. Next up, we have what I thought was actually a really fun match, really good match, especially given the interplay between the two characters. We have Minoru Suzuki versus his underling Taichi. And basically, the story of this match, Suzuki wants to make it clear to Taichi that he is the leader of Suzuki-gun and to know your place. Because he beat the crap out of Taichi for a good hunk of the match. And they, early on, the ref gets taken out while being squashed between the two of them. They have a sword fight with some chairs. They go onto the outside. Suzuki finds some more chairs, hits Taichi with them a few times, and then runs Taichi into the barricade as well. He chokes Taichi between the chair and barricade. The ref finally gets back into the ring. Suzuki is grabbing a chair and fighting over the chair with the ref. The ref gets knocked down again, so Marty Asami is not having a good time in this match. Now Taichi takes advantage of the ref being down, hits Suzuki with his mic stand. They fight back to the outside. Taichi uses a mic cable to choke Suzuki for a little bit. The ref comes back to again, and this time Taichi takes him out and attacks Suzuki with a chair. And then finally, the ref is back into the ring, manages to live this time. And then they, Taichi and Suzuki, beat the crap out of each other with forearms and kicks. Suzuki puts on a rear naked choke and goes for a gotch pile driver. But Taichi hits a Saito suplex. Taichi escapes two more gotch pile driver attempts and out of nowhere hits Suzuki with the Black Mephisto and gets the win. What I found really funny is when this happened, I started getting goosebumps, and that's the first thing Kevin Kelly said on the commentary was, "Man, I have goosebumps seeing this right before." So this match was really, really good, and I did not see Taichi coming away with the win the way he did, but he pulled out the victory here.
This was the match that when I saw it on the schedule, I was like, how's that going to work? I wasn't sure about it, but, you know, they had the backstory that they established, you know, Rocky Romero, the locker room rumors that, you know, there's been tension in Suzuki-gun since Taichi turned heavyweight. And this match, like, I don't know what I was expecting from this match, but this far exceeded it. You know, murder Grandpa at his murderest. Taichi was aggressive. This was just, you know, that kind of violent, fun, wild Suzuki match. And then Taichi just kind of hit Black Mephisto out of nowhere and won. But even better than the match was Taichi's reaction to beating Minoru Suzuki. He gets the pin and he jumps up and he's super pumped and he raises his arms in victory, and then he just falls down face first.
I also like that he didn't do the usual pomp and circumstance to tear his pants off. So it seemed he was a much more serious competitor in this match. So there was that too. But yeah, the two of them basically had almost a no DQ match because the ref was missing for the first half because he went down 3 separate times right in a row. And Kevin Kelly was talking about how being a ref during this match is a crappy job, and they referenced dirty jobs and all that fun stuff. I thought it was pretty funny. Marty took a few hits, and but he did live to see another day. Next up, we have what you would think is normally a bit of a styles clash here. We have Will Ospreay versus Tomohiro Ishii. This match I thought was excellent. We have a bit of a fast-paced chain wrestling early to start with. They exchange tons of strikes. At one point, Ishii is down in the corner. Will Ospreay calls him a little bitch, and Ishii does not take very kindly to that. They fight on the outside. Ospreay hits an Os cutter on the floor using the barricade as his launching pad. Ospreay goes to the top, but Ishii runs into the ropes to crotch Ospreay on the top turnbuckle, and Ishii takes him off the top with an avalanche suplex. And then they have a quick striking exchange until Ospreay hits a few kicks, and then Ishii drops Ospreay with this just wild elbow, and he hits a powerbomb for a 2 count. We have Ospreay hitting a Spanish fly in the middle and an Os cutter for a 2 count. They exchange strikes to a double down, and then Ospreay hits a powerbomb for a 2 count, and Ospreay counters a vertical brainbuster into a stunner, and then hits a poison rana, and then an awful waffle, and Ishii kicks out at 2. Ospreay then hits Hidden Blade, Stormbreaker, and then gets the victory. I thought this was a great match between these two.
Yeah, this match was awesome. This felt to me like Will's coming out party as a heavyweight. I liked the match with Yujiro, but this was the match where you could really feel that there's something different about Will Ospreay. He looked bigger. He looked tougher. The closing stretch looked a bit off to me from when Ishii stands up for the Poison Rana. So I went back and watched it again, and what I think happened is that I think after the Poison Rana, it was supposed to be the Hidden Blade and the Stormbreaker and finish. But I think that Ishii decided that he was going to do that no-sell spot off the Poison Rana, because when Ospreay gets up, he looks pissed. And he hits Ishii with his rolling elbow and kind of yells at him. And then he tries to hit Stormbreaker, but like whatever happens, and Ospreay ends up dropping him like it was an awful waffle. And then they did the Hidden Blade and the Stormbreaker and the pin.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't it didn't look like anything went wrong. It just, it kind of baffled me psychologically. And I could be completely wrong anyway, but that's what I thought happened. But yeah, this match was completely awesome.
Yeah, I thought it worked. And Will Ospreay adding that extra muscle probably made it a lot easier to throw around Ishii, especially hitting the awful waffle in such high speed and being able to do it safely. There was plenty of clearance for Ishii's head, so he didn't go smack down into the ground. So, really good match. It was really high speed for an Ishii match. Ospreay really gave a lot of movement throughout this to keep it at a fast pace. And solid match. And once again, Ospreay sticks another 2 points on the board, so he's up 4. So
yeah, and man, the Ospreay still has that absolutely insane agility, man. That one spot where Ishii goes for a lariat, and Ospreay does this, and he's done it before, but this just insane high speed lucha loop-de-loop around the arm that he somehow turns into a Liger bomb. Like, that was wild. Yeah, this is freaking great match. I love this. I love, Ishii's great. Ospreay is one of the most outstanding guys in the world. This was awesome.
Then we move on to another really good match. This was Kota Ibushi versus Jay White with Gedo at ringside. Jay White is just the best heel. He wants the crowd to chant for Ibushi, and he grabs the microphone and is chanting, Ibushi! Ibushi! But it's against the rules for the audience to chant, so they can just clap. So he's just like the best heel, just egging them on to try to break rules. Jay White drives Kota Ibushi's knee into the ring apron early, and this becomes a bit of a story throughout the match, working on that knee. Jay White just attacks the knee constantly. Whenever there is a moment where Kota Ibushi starts to take a little bit, Jay White just kind of pokes him in the knee again with a kick or a punch or something, and brings it back to Jay White's favor. Rocky Romero actually made a really good point in this. Jay White, if Jay White can cause an injury or something to Kota Ibushi's knee, and he has a bum knee for the rest of the match, rest of the tournament, that helps out Jay White, because if Kota Ibushi loses some more matches, then it'll be better for Jay White when it comes matches later on if Kota Ibushi is not in the running. So good point out there from Rocky. Jay White hits this insane deadlift German suplex and drops Ibushi right on his dome. I don't know how that guy is still alive, and actually Rocky Romero asked the same question, I believe. Jay White continues attacking the knee. Gedo grabs Jay White's leg at one point to prevent Ibushi from doing the outside-in suplex over the ropes. Ibushi hits a desperation bastard driver, and they have a double down. They then slowly get up. They have a striking exchange where Kota Ibushi just about knocked Jay White's head into the third row. Jay White attacks the leg some more, puts on the TTO, the Tanahashi tap out, basically an inverted figure four or reverse figure four, whatever you want to call it. And then Kota does manage to get to the rope. Jay White hits a sleeper suplex, but Kota Ibushi rolls right through it and hits the Bomaye, and then a last ride powerbomb for a 2 count. Gedo creates a distraction for Jay White, who then hits a low blow before Kota Ibushi could hit the Kamigoye. White hits a Regal Plex for a 2 count. Kota Ibushi hits a V-trigger on White, and then also kicks Gedo with a high kick to knock him off the apron, but then walks straight into Jay White's Blade Runner, and Jay White gets the 3 count. So Kota Ibushi drops a match here to Jay White, and now Jay White is up 4 points, and Kota Ibushi sits at 2.
Yeah, I like this match a lot. It wasn't as great as the final last year, because, that was a special match with bigger stakes. This, was very good. It seems like they're setting up, knee problems for Ibushi to be a recurring theme over the course of the tournament. About 18 minutes in, we get the zombie Ibushi spot. I love it. It's like the world's most subdued fighting spirit spot. Where he just
no sells he just no sells 3 elbows in a row.
Yeah, he turns it all off, so he's dead inside and absorbs blows. But then Gedo goes to interfere, and he takes out Gedo, and then he picks up White for the Kamigoye, and then White just kills him dead with the Blade Runner and got the pin. It was, there have been, and I don't mind it typically, but there have been a lot of sort of finishes that, I don't know, I felt kind of came out of nowhere and didn't appear to be, what was being built to in this tournament so far.
Yeah, a lot of these finishes have just kind of like you don't know which way they're going to go, because it doesn't really matter what happened throughout the match. A lot of times, like the previous 20 minutes don't play into the last 30 seconds. It's like, well, what was the point of the last 20 minutes other than to look cool when it didn't come into play? It's like somebody who just like completely kills the other dude, but then gets taken out at the end with like the guy's finisher. And the guy looks like nothing has happened to him. Like no sells the last 20 minutes worth of spots. So some of those have definitely come into play. And just given how many, I mean, they're not like the most dusty of dusty finishes, but we've had a lot of low blow into a finish, a ref bump into a finish, at least like once a show. And this low blow to the finish is exactly like another match on the next night, low blow into the finish. Like the same exact thing. So, actually we had the next night we had 2 low blows to the finish. So, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to finish this up. After the show was over, Jay White gets the mic and just lays on some more heel. He says, "What's more important to you, Kota? To be successful or like me, or getting these fools to like you?" He says, "Sapporo, you're stupid. Your guys are just robots. Like everyone else I have to wrestle. Like Ichii, you're stupid to care about what these idiots think of you. Someday you'll learn to be successful like me, but no one can compare to me." He says that he is the best. He is the man who single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden, so he's still hyping on that. Says he's going to beat Okada next, and it will take place in the same place where he and Gedo turned on Chaos to join Bullet Club in Osaka.
Kobe, right? Kobe.
Osaka is next.
Is it?
I'm like,
yeah, but that was that match was Sunday.
Correct. Yeah. Night 4 is still in Sapporo. But the match that took place...
Yeah,
yes.
I thought Night 5 was in Kobe. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, right.
Yeah.
It will be. Well, they're fighting on nights. Yeah, they're fighting on Night 5. But yeah, so he continues to lay on the heel thick. And anyways, what were you going to say? It looked like you want to say something.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. So we move on to night number 4, still in Sapporo in the same venue, September 24th, 2020. The Young Lion match this time is Yuya Uemura versus Yota Tsuji. And this was pretty much a standard back and forth. Not much of a standout on this one. Tsuji taps out Uemura. So I think that's a traded win from night 1. If I'm
I think they're mostly all gonna be that.
Yeah, I think they're all gonna pretty much trade wins, and they're probably gonna C block is gonna come out pretty much even.
Yeah, hard hitting, technically sound, perfect opening match on any card, as we are learning on this tour because we're doing it every night. He's probably done it before, but I noticed here Uemura has a heel hook that looked really good that I think he could do a lot with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good match.
I like the little story Kevin Kelly said about meeting them for the first time. They had basically buzzed hair, and he's like, "Oh, you got some new guys," and they're like, "No, they've been here for a year, but this is the first time we're letting them out."
Yeah.
First block match of the night in the B block is Sanada versus Hiroki Goto. I actually did not write down a ton for this match because really not a ton happened. It wasn't much of a standout. Things to note, Goto had tape on his shoulder, so that became a big target for Sanada. And really not a lot to talk about. A lot of back and forth, and Sanada puts on a skull end near the end of this match that Goto gets out of, and Goto ends up hitting the GTR for the win. So Sanada down 2 to start off his G1 this year as well.
Yeah, this was good. They told a nice story here. I love me some fighting spirit Goto. Yeah, like you said, Sanada missed the moonsault. The Goto made his comeback, and it was just reverse GTR, and then a half GTR, half Ochikuroshi, the GTR, and the win. And Goto's next match is against Naito, and Kevin Kelly made sure to point out that Naito has owned Hiroki Goto, especially in G1 competition. Goto's getting that upset, baby.
All right, well, we'll see how that turns out. Next up, we had Toru Yano versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Yano wants Tanahashi to follow him to the outside at the beginning. Tanahashi is not going to fall for that, but eventually they do end up fighting out on the floor, and Yano drags Tanahashi all the way up the entrance alley, all the way to the entrance, and then they just exchange strikes while a 20 count is started. They keep fighting, and then they both have to run back to the ring. Actually, Tanahashi didn't look too bad running. It looked painful, but he managed to make it under the 20 count. Tanahashi at one point hits his second rope somersault senton. They fight to the outside again. Yano grabs some tape, but Tanahashi kicks him in the stomach, which causes him to drop the tape. Tanahashi grabs the tape and wraps it around multiple times around Yano's head so he can't see. Yano does make it back into the ring at 19, and then Yano with his the eyes in the back of his head, dodges the attack from Tanahashi, also by using the ref kind of as his eyes a little bit as well. He blocks the ref's view, kicks Tanahashi in the balls, rolls up Tanahashi, and gets the 3 count. He has beat Sanada and Tanahashi is now 2 matches down as well, and Yano has 4 points after the first 2 rounds.
Don't forget, Yano just pinned Okada right before the G1 started too, man. My picks sucked this year. I thought that the plan, I thought that they were going to do for the finish was Yano winning by count out because of Tanahashi's shitty knees. And it did, man. It looked painful, but Tanahashi made it in the ring. And yeah, the blindfold thing was funny, and then the distraction, low blow, the cradle, man. Toru Yano can pin anyone at any time. You never know.
Yeah, I did not see that coming. I thought him wrapping the tape around the head, covering his eyes, was all she wrote for Tanahashi to finish off the match, but no, did not go that way. But yeah, the run looked painful, but yeah, I know Tanahashi always wants to look big and buff, but I don't know, maybe losing a little bit of weight off of his upper frame might relieve a little bit of the pressure off of his knees and give him a little bit more longevity if he decided to go that way. I don't know. Next up, we had Juice Robinson versus Kenta. Again, I thought this was a fun match. Kenta has a very similar kind of philosophy towards the matches as Jay White does. He just kind of powders whenever he wants to try to slow things down, just drops and rolls out of the ring, although Juice is a bit of a dummy because he ends up chasing Kenta, and Kenta, jumps back into the ring, and as Juice is coming under the bottom rope, he ends up eating a few kicks and some punches. Kenta rolls out of the ring again as soon as Juice hits like one jab. He's like, yep, I'm out of here. The match goes back and forth for a little bit. Kenta hits his swing over the top rope hang up type of move that he does. I don't even know what to call that at this point. It's a move that he uses all the time. I think it needs a name.
A hangman something or other.
Yeah, swinging hangman. I don't know. Juice hits a cannonball in the corner. Kenta hits in sequence a missile drop kick off the top rope, a running boot to the face in the corner, a basement drop kick, and then a double stomp off the top rope for a 2 count. Juice hits a desperation full Nelson bomb, and they have a double down. They slowly get up and get into a stiff striking exchange. Juice hits a juice box for a 2, or actually can't get, I don't think he could cover for that one. A little bit more back and forth, and Juice hits Pulp Friction and gets the win. When he reversed himself, he escaped a GTS. So
yeah, Kenta, perceived as the favorite throughout the match. Juice as the underdog, but Juice is another one of those guys, man. And especially in G1 competition, you never know. Left-handed god, Pulp Friction, can put down anybody. He can roll up anybody. This was a strong match. So, a little bit of a surprising result. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It's good.
Yeah, I thought that was definitely a solid match for these two. Both of them are really good. I'm a big fan of both of their work anyway, so it went as about expected. Next up, we have Yoshihashi versus Evil. Evil has a chair in the ring before the bell and tries to attack Yoshihashi, but Yoshihashi ducks it and hits Evil with the staff that he carries down to the ring. Finally, that staff gets used for something. I never know why he's bringing it down. It never gets used, but here it actually got used. Evil distracts the ref after the bell, and Dick Togo pulls Yoshihashi out of the ring, runs him into the barricade on the outside. Evil makes a pile of chairs on the floor and gives Yoshihashi a suplex onto the pile. Yoshihashi makes a comeback with a bunch of strikes and then hits a headhunter and a running drop kick with Evil hung up on the ropes, and then another one to a sitting Evil, and then Yoshihashi goes up to the top rope, but Evil ends up crotching him and hits him with a superplex. Evil sends Yoshihashi into the exposed turnbuckle a couple times that Dick Togo had removed the turnbuckle pad from, and then hits a Darkness Falls for a 2 count, and this is only halfway through the match. Yoshihashi returns the favor, sending Evil headfirst into the exposed turnbuckle twice, then hits a heel kick, but he can't follow up, and we have a double down. They have a striking exchange. Dick Togo tries to get involved, but it doesn't work. Yoshihashi puts on the butterfly lock, and they fight over this position for quite a long time. It felt like a good minute and a half to 2 minutes as Evil is just struggling to try to get something, and he eventually gets to the ropes. So a long time in that hold. Evil tries a low blow, but Yoshihashi catches it and then hits him with a lariat. And then Yoshihashi hit a leaping double knees. That was awesome for a 2 count. He got so much height on that. He hits a swanton bomb for another 2 count. And then Evil pulls the ref. Dick Togo hits Yoshihashi in the back with a chair and then chokes him with the garrote. And then Yoshihashi gets out of that and actually gives a forearm to Togo to drop him on the outside. Yoshihashi goes for karma, but Evil pushes Yoshihashi towards the ref. The ref ducks and turns his back. Evil hits a low blow, hits everything as Evil, and gets the win. So here we have the third in 2 nights, low blow, finisher, over.
Once again, Yoshihashi has a far better match than I think anybody expected of him. A very strong showing here. You come into this match thinking that Yoshihashi is, completely outmatched, but he's not. He's more than competitive. But he also has to contend with Dick Togo.
Yeah.
This is a rematch from the New Japan Cup when Yoshihashi came in with a knee injury and Evil took advantage of it and put him down with the Scorpion Deathlock in about a minute. So, that was Evil was trying the same thing again, and Yoshihashi was prepared for it and, finally used the staff. But yeah, I always, whenever Yoshihashi goes up for the Swanton Bomb, I believe it in my heart a little bit because I remember... Like my first memory of Yoshihashi as a young lion was I think the 2010 Best of the Super Junior when he hit the Swanton Bomb to upset Koji Kanemoto. So you never know. You gotta don't doubt Yoshihashi, man. I like this match a lot, and yeah, it was Yoshihashi's having a run this year, man. Yoshihashi's on a roll. He didn't win here, but he looked strong against the guy who was recently the double champion. Yoshihashi moving up in the world. I thought
Yoshihashi looked really strong in this match. I think this is definitely one of the better matches that I've seen out of Yoshihashi. It was it actually had me at one point. I thought he might be able to pull out the win because he managed to block the choke from Dick Togo and just drop him with a forearm and take him out of it. I'm like, all right, he's got Dick Togo taken out, but still Evil manages to get the ref to turn his back and hit the low blow. But solid match out of Yoshihashi here, and just the matches with Evil are getting a little repetitive, it feels. So I think they need to come up with some more ideas for finishes, because it's starting to feel like I'm watching the same thing over and over again. They need to change they can have the same ultimate end of the story, but they needed to change the text.
Yeah, that's not the strongest suit of Gato's booking, I have to admit.
Yeah, or this year especially. This year has felt a bit more repetitive than previous years.
Yeah, and a lot of it is circumstances.
Yeah. And then we have the final match of the night, and this is Tetsuya Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr.'s knee is all taped up. I forget, did that come out of his previous match? Did he take some shots to the knee? I cannot remember for the life of me.
I don't remember either. He may have already had the knee. I don't know.
All right, so he has the knee taped up here. There's a lot of chain wrestling for the first 5 minutes. Really, the entire match was a lot of chain wrestling, but really in the first 5 minutes, it was just solid chain wrestling the entire time. They fight on the outside at one point, and Zack Sabre Jr. runs Naito into the barricade, tosses him back into the ring, and then a little funny thing, he looks over the announcers and slowly pulls the barricade back into place where it originally was. Like, he's like, oh, I'm going to put this back where it was, because they're always having to do that. Thought it was a little funny touch right there. Zack Sabre Jr., then goes back into the ring at about the 10-minute mark. No one had really been in control for any significant length of time. Neither had really nailed down much of a specific strategy other than wear down your opponent in a holistic manner, and that just continued through the rest of the match. Nobody really targeted one particular part of the other competitor. Zack hit this crazy tornado DDT where he ran up the turnbuckle. I thought that was pretty cool. I have never seen him do something like that before. And he locks in a flying triangle, but Naito gets to the ropes to get out of that. Naito hits an assisted neck breaker to the floor using the apron. And then Naito uses a bunch of pull-in back elbows, couple sequences. This was very similar. Somebody did this on AEW 3 times in a row past week too. Didn't somebody? Somebody did that same exact spot. But now I can't remember who it was. After that, we have Zack Sabre Jr. finally starts to throw hands, and he hits he starts to throw hands, but Naito cuts him off, hits a swinging DDT, and then Naito throws on a crucifix choke for good measure. They fight over that position for a little bit. Naito attempts to speed things up, but Zack Sabre Jr. just throws on the octopus hold, and they fight over that position. Naito then avoids a couple Zack driver attempts and then hits a Destino. And then he picks Zack up to go hit another one, but Zack turns it into a Zack driver, and both men are down. Neither can capitalize. And then we are running up against the time limit. We hit the 27-minute mark when a back and forth happens, a few different bridge pin attempts from Zack Sabre Jr. Naito hits half of a Destino because it's basically trying to get out of a Zack driver and turns it into a part of a Destino right at the 28-minute mark. And that was for a 2 count. Then he picks up Zack, hits a full-on Destino, and gets the win with about 1:30 left to go. So I thought this was a really fun match. It was just back and forth the whole time. It was what you would think out of a Zack Sabre Jr. match, and Naito matched him just as well. So
that was my take as well. Exactly. Yeah, it was 28-29. Zack Sabre Jr. match. It's well wrestled. It's as safe as a big New Japan singles match is going to be. Very wrestling heavy. Zack Sabre Jr. is the best technical wrestler on earth, but Tetsuya Naito is the champion of professional wrestling. He can take care of himself. He can hold his own. They fought hard, kicked out of big moves. This was good. It was solid. It seems like it's going to be a theme of Naito having long matches in this tournament. He went past 27 minutes with Tanahashi. He went past 28 with Zack here. I suspect that is going to cause more wear and tear on him as the tournament goes on. And I think we're going to see it on Tuesday when he gets into the deep waters against Hiroki Goto and gets a surprise.
Yeah, hopefully he does not go that long with Yano. But yeah, I thought this was a solid match. Like you said, very safely worked. There was only a couple things that were even in the ballpark of anywhere near being dangerous. The assisted neck breaker to the floor, that probably hurt more than dangerous. And of course, he did the top rope. He did the Rana off the top rope where Zack Sabre Jr. was sitting on the top turnbuckle, and that was about the most dangerous spot they did. The rest of it was all low to the ground and lots of exchanging of holds and whatnot. So this was probably a tiring style to work, but definitely very safe, and neither of them probably came out any worse for wear out of this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so far night 3 and 4 again, solid nights. Do you happen to have the schedule in front of you for the next couple?
No, give me one.
See, now I'm gonna get to it. Oh, I guess. What happened on Sunday?
So it was Sunday in Kobe, I think. Then there's the show Tuesday somewhere.
The show Tuesday is in Korakuen.
We're getting to Korakuen this week. We got the 29th and 30th, which will be Tuesday and Wednesday at Korakuen, and then the 1st in Nagaoka, and then we've got a few days off before we resume in Takamatsu.
Yeah, so should be good. The lineup for Sunday's show that already took place, we have Yujiro versus Taichi, Minoru Suzuki versus Jeff Cobb, Ichii versus Kota Ibushi, Shingo Takagi versus Will Ospreay, Jay White versus Okada. So that's gonna that already took place on Sunday, but we have not watched it yet because the English, well, at least I haven't. The English hasn't come out yet, and I'm waiting for the English. The English commentary is making it so much more fun to watch because I know the Japanese is fun to listen to, but being able to understand is so much nicer, and they give you all the statistics that, of course, you're never going to remember off the top of your head.
Yeah, if I'm gonna watch it live, I'll watch the Japanese commentary. But if I have to wait anyway, I'll just wait a day or two in the English commentary because, I really enjoy it. But,
yeah, and then so we'll probably cover the next 4 in one shot. So we have what's coming up tomorrow morning, at least for us, probably in about 6 hours or so. We have Yoshihashi versus Sanada, Kenta versus Zack Sabre Jr., Juice Robinson versus Tanahashi, Yano versus Evil, and Tetsuya Naito headlines once again against Goto. So that is going to be night 6. Then night 7, heading back to Korakuen Hall once again. We have Suzuki versus Yujiro, Cobb versus Ibushi, Taichi versus Okada, Jay White versus Ospreay, and Ishii versus Shingo Takagi. Looking forward to that one because that one's going to be a beatdown. Pretty much both of them are just going to beat the crap out of each other. And then number 8? Night 8. We go in Juice Robinson, Yano, Goto versus Zack Sabre Jr., Tanahashi versus Yoshihashi, Kenta versus Evil. That is going to be one to look for, considering it's 2 Bullet Club guys going against each other. And then Tetsuya Naito versus Sanada. Again, another one to look for. The leader of LIJ taking on one of his underlings. Whereas the previous match is just a couple of guys from Bullet Club. Again, is Evil the leader? Is he not? Is Jay White the leader? Is he not? That one, we are not going to find out until later since they are in different blocks. But that is what is going down, has already gone down, and what's going down this week, and what we'll probably cover next time we see you for New Japan stuff. So I think that is all I have. We'll probably shoot again sometime early next week to cover the shows that are happening this week, if that works out for you, of course. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap it up here?
Nah.
No? Is are your blocks pretty much shot to hell? Your bracket?
But I don't even want to look.
That good, huh? All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening to That's Wrestling for New Japan coverage. If you are listening to this as a podcast, head over to the YouTube channel because we do this show live. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can grab this as a podcast on all your favorite podcast apps. You can send mailbag questions, comments, feedback, disagreements with us, whatever you want, to Eric at thatswrestling.com. Head over to iTunes, give us a review, check out our Discord, which you can find the link to in the description and show notes, and you can find links to Trae's Twitter and his kind of wrestling blog as well. So that is it for Trae Wisecarver. My name is Eric LaRoche, and you've been listening and watching That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.